It seems like it didn't go very well, all that mocking from Daniela Lima, making fun like that. An elderly person in an extremely complicated, delicate situation. Now, it had already happened here. They're already talking about it behind the scenes. In terms of dismissal, she will end up being fired from Folha de São Paulo, and there will be a lawsuit against her here. A lawsuit because she violated the elderly statute. Given all that barbarity, that whole macabre scene from Daniela Lima, I'm going to show you here what the top journalists are saying about it. Looks like things went wrong again, huh? Daniela has to look for a job again after being fired from Globo. Smash that like button. I'll bring you all this information. Come be part of our family. Don't miss out on joining our team. While you're at it, subscribe, grab the link, and share it in your groups. My friends who give great support to our work here, my friends. Before we get started, just a quick reminder. We have Slim Fervor, right? It's available for everyone. It's a natural weight loss. Are you gonna try it? Especially at year-end parties. Sometimes we end up going a little overboard, right? Sometimes we eat a little more, and we always get that worry, right? What do we do to lose inches, to lose weight? Here's a product with which I lost more than 20 kilos. Everyone asks about it. Fabiano Giguet, wow, you lost weight quickly. Yes, my friends, it took willpower and a helpful product. It's a little powder. Look, it's a powder that you take and mix in water. It tastes like orange juice. It kind of tastes like Tang, right? It's similar, and it suppresses your hunger, right? You feel less hungry, so you'll be able to lose weight. If I can do it, my friends, I'm living proof. A few months ago, look at these photos, look at these images. Me and a friend of mine, right? We were together. You were chubby, Fabiano Giguet. You were chubby. It had been a while since he last saw me. We ended up meeting yesterday. Great guy, my friend Gilberto. Big hug. Fabiano Giguet, you lost weight. I said, hey, it's Slim Ferv. I'm there every day, right? Promoting on the channel, a really great product for you who want to lose weight much more easily. Peace of mind. We know it's hard. It's hard. I eat every day, and I wasn't able to lose weight. Slim Ferv is what helped me, right? To lose more than 20 kilos. The link is right here below for everyone who wants to take advantage and get ready for the big summer. Looking slim, right? It's really cool. It gives you and my friends a lot of quality of life. The sarcasm is good because it's obvious. Given so many situations we're seeing here in Brazil, so much corruption, one worse than the other. Then from her partners, funny how she ignores Lulinha and the entire Banco Master scandal. When she does talk, it's only to try to defend the system, to try to defend her own people. She doesn't open her mouth because she's a Soviet, let's put it that way. A Soviet of the regime. She's a Soviet of the regime. The biggest atrocity we're seeing, our dear First Lady responded. This woman, people, it's disgusting. Even for them, it's disgusting, and it looked really bad. Daniela Lima, mocking the accident that happened to President Bolsonaro at the federal police headquarters, was presenting the news during the show. Everyone saw it, right? This atrocity, this mocking, laughing face, man, look, it didn't go well for the people who made fun of President Bolsonaro. Especially when it comes to illnesses, right? Look, Daniela Lima, you know, that laughter will turn, you can be sure, into a lot of crying, You got upset because you were fired from Globo, they got rid of you. Now, there's no driver picking you up at your house, at your doorstep anymore. That was everything to her. She used to show off her little Rede Globo television badge. When she got to Rede Globo, I even showed it here. At the time, not even the receptionist at Globo knew who she was, and she thought she was everything she imagined herself to be. She laughed, made fun. What a pathetic thing, such a pathetic thing.
Let's not talk about Brazil. Let's talk about Brazil. Everyone come back here. Mrs. Carla, who fell out of bed.
It's indecent, our First Lady. Look here, my friends. Here in the news, right? Lima still laughs when Ricardo Cosco, a journalist and writer who was also on the show, interrupts, saying, fell out of bed and turned into a model. All of them. Bolsonaro suffered such a fall, right? There's no need for the detainee to be immediately removed to the hospital. All that nonsense. Mariah's even argued with the Federal Council of Medicine, which had released a statement, right? Following the incident, First Lady Michelle Bolsonaro posted the moment on social media, calling it disgusting and criticizing the journalist's actions. I was reading here, my friends, look at Claudia Wild. She brought up a very interesting point. Look, ridiculing an elderly person on national television or on a similar channel because of an illness can be considered a crime. In Brazil, depending on the specific circumstances of the case, based on the statute of the elderly person, Jair Bolsonaro is 70 years old. He is elderly. Therefore, the behavior of Daniela Lima, who clearly mocked and made ironic remarks about Jair Bolsonaro's situation regarding the cranial trauma, is typically criminal, right? Article 95 of the same law clearly states the right to file the lawsuit belongs to the public prosecutor's office. Now we will wait, right, for our deputies and senators. Filing a lawsuit against her is the least these people can do in the face of all this blatant mockery, right? For me, one of the greatest journalists, Paulo, was explaining about this. Yes, a crime was committed. And Paulo, with all his vast experience in journalism, was talking about it. Let's take a look here, okay?
Let's highlight the elderly statute, Law 10,741 of 2003. Everyone here is elderly. Everyone here is elderly. Article 96 establishes a crime for anyone who discriminates against, humiliates, belittles, or ridicules an elderly person with a penalty of imprisonment from 6 months to 1 year and a fine. Man, these journalists are doing this all the time. What we saw yesterday was a disgrace. It's a blatant offense. Are you there? And what if the laughter is meant to mock, dehumanizing or exposing the elderly to ridicule, especially because of illness, can constitute the crime of insult under Article 140 of the Brazilian Penal Code. If the conduct affects the dignity or decorum of the elderly, things get more serious, like jokes, mockery, public scorn, which is what we saw yesterday, and soon we'll say who it was. It can also be insult with an aggravating factor for involving a vulnerable person, and an elderly person is vulnerable. Civil liability, even if there is no criminal conviction, the victim can still request compensation for moral damages. It's enough to prove the embarrassment and humiliation. That has already been proven. That, as one minister said, another minister from the Supreme Federal Court, is an eternal flagrant because it's on the internet. What we saw yesterday, what they're doing to him, to this elderly man, forget his last name. Think of a person, an elderly man. If an elderly person falls at home in your house, your father, your mother, someone close to you, what are you going to do? Are you going to laugh? Are you going to make fun of them? That's disgusting. Even for them.
My friends, we can see that it's cruel even for these indecent activists. The great Paulo here, once again, said absolutely everything. It's already being quietly shown to all of Brazil. Adriano, who is one of the big influencers on social media here, also posted about it. Universo Online should fire Daniela Lima. He made a video about it because, obviously, even for Universo Online for Folha de São Paulo, it looked bad. Yes, even for Folha's standards, it looked bad. They're already talking about it here. Universo Online should fire Daniela Lima. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Just see how things are. The difference? Did she ever mock Lula when he split his head open in the bathroom while cutting his nails? No, we never saw that happen at any moment. They only do that with President Bolsonaro, which is truly cruelty without limits, what we're witnessing here in this country. They have nothing to offer people of any kind. For you, it's tax, 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 tax is life, and they commit all these atrocities. Claudio Dantas, too, who's one of the great journalists, was also outraged. Look at what he says. Let's pay attention to Claudio, who's a great journalist.
To keep this professional with that kind of attitude.
Someone who fell out of bed and had a mild head trauma. Look.
I'm thinking here that I don't know.
Fell out of bed and became a...
Fell out of bed and became one. I took a while.
A person like that, a reporter doing that kind of thing, I mean, really, we start to question, are they really doing this? Is it really conviction? It's conviction. What do you call trying to please the minister just to stay the minister's spokesperson and keep access to their information? Anyone who looks at Universo Online really sees that by keeping this professional with that kind of attitude, Universo Online is shooting itself in the foot and ends up endorsing that kind of behavior. So I'm really just speculating here, waiting to see what Universo Online is going to do, whether they're going to endorse this kind of treatment. Is this the kind of journalism you want? Because look, it's fine. You can have journalism that leans to the left. That's not a problem. I think we need to be clear about our editorial stance. We need to be clear. We need to stop sitting on the fence. Impartiality doesn't exist. Only independence might. Now, it needs to be made clear. This is the level of journalism, because that way you can make the criticism. You can be on the left or right and criticize, but do so respectfully and knowledgeably.
With documents, with respect, with civility, with courtesy, with humanity. Now, that's just too much. That's a clear demonstration of absolute disrespect for the profession, for life, for the vehicle, for the institutionality.
For the broth. You hit the nail on the head. Absolutely right, absolutely right, absolutely right. The outlet can have its own stance, and we know clearly that Folha São Paulo is totally left-wing. But even they looked bad because of this. Do you know what they're going to do now? Daniela Lima will stay a little longer, so it won't be too obvious, She'll stay for maybe another month, maybe 2 months, and then they'll end up getting rid of her. The same thing Globo did. Globo wasn't satisfied. Yes, it was obviously Mockery, they like it and all, but it looks really bad for the network. So, what do we watch? Now, she'll stay a little longer, just a little longer, and then she'll end up being let go. She'll end up working at EBC there with Cissa Guimarães, with Lula and all, because that's inhumanity, it's inhumanity, inhumanity. It's the same thing as when the electoral process ended. She was saying that everyone would go back to eating picanha, everyone would go back to dressing well, but people were already dressing well, they were already eating picanha. Because elections, a left-wing victory, turn into money, and so on. And now we're seeing the situation in Brazil. This whole regime will do anything to cover up all this news. Extremely imposing for them. So then, they're going to talk about a coup. They're going to say, coup, coup, coup. That Bolsonaro is a coup plotter, Bolsonaro in jail, Bolsonaro today is a hostage, the politician, President Bolsonaro is a hostage, they use Bolsonaro. Every time a huge scandal comes out in this misgovernment, they go there and release things about President Bolsonaro to try to create a smokescreen. He was arrested precisely in the week when the biggest scandals about Banco Mastro were coming out. We've seen it since then. And Zanato? This man hasn't spoken to most of Brazilian society, who care deeply about him, for almost half a year now. And really now, folks, senators and congressmen, they have a huge legal team. It's long past time for them to have filed a lawsuit with a lawyer and all, to put that activist in her proper place. And even for the media outlet itself, because the ones who have to pay these compensations when this happens are the media outlets, not the journalist. So nothing will be left for her. Universo Online will end up with everything. Having to let her go. Once again, Daniela Lima will taste her own medicine. She went there to mock on Globo. They waited a while, and then that's it for her. The same thing will happen again. You can be sure. Share this video on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, give it a like, and join our Pai Filho channel family. I'll be back soon with more updates in our daily journalism, bringing you news every day.